Hidden deep within this ancient woodland, surrounded by decades of overgrowth and invasive species, lies a very special place. This secret lake. This is the only natural body of water in the woodland, which means it's formed its own little micro-habitat. But due to years of neglect and the presence of invasive species like cherry laurel and bamboo, this lake is inaccessible to both us and the wildlife here. So today's mission, I'm going to go explore the lake, begin assessing the conditions of the surrounding area, and hopefully start clearing some of that invasive cherry laurel and bamboo so that we can begin our restoration work. If you're new here at the Wellstead, we are restoring and rewilding 9 acres of ancient woodland. And we're doing this by clearing invasive species, planting more trees, and hopefully one day reintroducing native species, all while building a sustainable future and a closer connection to the natural world. My name is Brandon and welcome to episode 32 of the Wellstead. Okay everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode at the Wellstead. And as I said in today's video, we're going to be exploring the only natural body of water on the land, which is our lake. Now, if you've watched our previous videos, you've probably seen the lake before, but the thing is the lake is so hard to access that I very, very rarely get over there. And you can see I've just walking down the path here from our farm, and I can point to the lake from here. It is right through there. In fact, I could probably pick up a pebble, throw it that way and hear a splash. That's how close it is to our main area of work. You can see just on video how densely surrounded by these invasives that it's just a waste of time trying to get over there, to be honest. Before we head over there, I just want to walk you through again the different bodies of water that we have here at the Wellstead and why the lake is so valuable to the ecosystem as a whole. Okay, so I'm just down here right at the bottom corner of the woodland where our main point of access is. And if I walk through here, right next to our driveway, we have this beautiful pond. Now, I'm not sure how long this pond has been here, and it does look quite, aquatic now. But I believe this was an area that was intentionally, artificially dug out. And the reason for that is because in the other corner of the woodland, there is a semi-lake that sort of appears sometimes and disappears at other times. And it acts as sort of a drain from the road and our neighbouring farmer's field to help clear away some of that runoff rainwater. But even when it's mostly dry, a lot of that water runs down here in a stream. And if we follow the line of this stream, you can see that it eventually ends up in that mini pond over there. And so because this pond sits at a much lower point in the land than the runoff pond does up there, then this one is permanent and could be considered, another lake. But because it's not naturally formed, then that's why I don't consider it one of the natural lakes. Nevertheless, it's still beautiful, and we see quite a few ducks and even some geese landing in here occasionally. And there's some lovely trees around here as well, so it attracts quite a few birds. And so for that reason, although this one isn't a natural lake, if anything, it's probably healthier than the lake that I'm going to get to in a minute. But there is another pond, a little bit like this, on the complete opposite end of the woodland that I'm going to show you as well. And then we'll get around to the lake. Okay, and here is the start of the second body of water on the property, which is right in the southwestern boundary, right next to the footpath that runs along our property. And you can see here, there is an old watershed, essentially, because down here, there is actually a natural wellspring. But this water spring, of course, overflows, and so it runs down here in this gully and into that concrete reservoir down there. And that concrete reservoir has about 3 or 4 chambers in it, which fill up and then flow over to the next chamber, and then fill up again, flow over. So that helps slow down the flow of the water. But of course, you can see there that the water also travels around it. And as such, if we follow the flow of the water, I'm not going to go that side, I'm going to go this side, past the water reservoir. You can see the stream continues down here. That is where the water is meant to flow from once the chamber fills up. But you can see nature always finds a way. We also get quite a lot of plastic pollution here due to the proximity of the path right there. You can see it comes out here, and down here it forms the second body of water on the land. Not entirely natural like the lake that we're getting around to today, but again a semi-natural pond that has formed just like the one down at the driveway due to the flowing of rainwater, or in this case the Wellspring. So it is, I suppose, a semi-natural pond. I would love to turn this into a wildlife pond. Of course it already is a wildlife pond without me doing much to it, but again just you know, cleaning it up a bit and providing more ideal habitat for different species. So that's the second body of water, and like I said, the fact that there's a natural wellspring here is likely the same source for there being a fully natural lake as well. However, we're going to go over to the lake now, and we're going to start trying to wade our way through to get to the water edge, and you'll see sort of the condition it's in, and so I'll explain more when we go over there. Okay, now we're just walking from the farm to the main lake, which, as I said, is quite close to our farm. And so it's quite surprising that it's so difficult to access. But you'll see in a second the kinds of conditions that you need to battle through to get to the lake. But while I'm on my way over there, I just want to take this opportunity to tell you guys about our fundraiser. If you like the work that we're doing here at the Wellstead of doing our best to restore this ancient woodland by doing tasks exactly like this, of reopening this lake for ecological evaluation, then you have the chance to contribute to our work here by donating to our fundraiser. At the moment, the main purpose for the fundraiser is to fund the planting of trees, which, by the way, a video coming out very soon all about that. But further down the line, the more donations that we can raise, and of course the more this channel grows, the more work we're going to be able to do, like restoring this lake. So if that's something that you guys like the sound of and you want to contribute to a small nature restoration project like ours, then head down into the description below and click on the link to our GoFundMe, and we'll be very, very grateful to receive any donation that you guys can give. You can see here the bamboo which I was working on a few weeks ago, and this is the largest and densest patch of bamboo in the woodland, but in this case it does need to go because you can see, just look at how dark it is in there, and it just grows in such dense clusters that, you know, it just needs to go. But the good side to that, as you can see, is that I'm leaving the stems to dry, and then we can use them in the farm because, you know, they make a great construction material. The lake is probably about 30 or 40 feet behind me right now, and you cannot see it. You can see the farm from here, you can see it right through there, and then just here is the lake, and I've got to get through there so that we can assess the state of this lake. Without further ado, let's get going. Wow, there's glass and plastic and metal and all sorts. You can see there's loads of glass down here. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Okay, I just gotta go for it. Ow! Oh. Jesus. It stinks as well. Okay, so you can see now I've just about made it through, but this part is super muddy and I don't want to slip into the lake. Oh! Ugh. Whoa! And we made it, and my hair is a bit of a mess. There is the main body of water in the woodland, our lake. You can see behind me here as well, there's another sort of little pond here, a bit of a weird, murky, rusty colour. Up there on that little hill there, I know there's another little pond. So I think at some point in time this lake was, you know, geoengineered, perhaps to prevent flooding or to help just drain water off the land. But regardless, this is the main body of water that you can see on the satellite images. Again, you can see those luscious green aquatic plants down there. I'm not too sure what they are. But something else that's really interesting is you can see how it's sort of got this little microclimate here because of the moisture in the air. And so the trees around here are covered in a lot more moss and lichen than anywhere else in the woodland, really. It almost feels like a mini temperate rainforest or something. Look at that, you can see just twigs, every surface is just covered in all sorts of, you know, epiphytes and bryophytes. And so those will all be factors that we'd have to take into consideration when we want to start restoring the area around here a bit more. It's so dense, but it's beautiful. You can see it is like its own little micro ecosystem here. And I'm not sure about the colour of this lake, why it's this sort of murky, browny, reddish colour. So if anyone's able to tell me that, please let us know in the comments below. And of course, as part of the restoration, we're going to get the water quality tested for you know, what kind of microbial life might be living in the lake. Is there any algae in there? And that will all inform, you know, how we go about restoring this area. But the majority of the trees around here seem to be these big dead ash trees up there. You can see here there's a pretty large dying tree. I can't tell what species it is. So our main priority to start with is going to be removing the cherry laurel and the bamboo, which I'm going to get started today. And then that just makes it easier to access this area so that in the future we can get some proper ecological assessment of the state of the lake, the water, the surrounding bank, you know, what species do we want here. But for now, that's our lake, so let's go get the chainsaw fired up and start clearing some of those cherry laurels. But it means that I've now got to clamber my way back through that horrible dense overgrowth. So wish me luck. Okay, so we're going to get the chainsaw fired up in a second, but first things first, let's get my new chainsaw trousers on. Perfect! Now let's go get those trees. Okay, so the wind's picked up quite a bit this afternoon, so I'm going to do what I can, but there are two large Douglas firs just above me here, and Douglas firs have a habit of shedding their branches in strong winds. So I'm going to keep an eye out, but I'm going to get to work on removing these cherry laurels, and hopefully we'll be able to carve a path into the lake. Yeah, that just happened. Okay, so this video's taken a little bit of an inconvenient turn. The wind's really picked up. You can hear the trees behind me here creaking, and that Douglas fir is blowing a lot, and it's just started raining as well. But we've also got a big problem, and I'm glad I've still got both legs. Just started cutting through here to start clearing some of these cherry laurels, and you can see here what cherry laurels tend to do is they send out suckers, and so I saw this one here, and you can see here where I was cutting, and happened too fast for me to really see what happened. The chainsaw just sort of yanked me forward, and then the spark flew out, and essentially I sort of turned it off. I didn't realise till afterwards. So I don't know what happened there, and I don't have the skill set to fix that today. I'd probably have to get that taken somewhere to either reattach the chain or just get a new chain altogether. Good thing I put my chainsaw trousers on though, because a loose chain is obviously not very friendly to human flesh. It's okay, the mission continues.
3 days later.
Hello everyone, just want to say thank you for watching this video so far, and if you enjoy watching the work that we're doing here in restoring this ancient woodland and you want to support our channel, then the best way to do that is just to simply hit like and subscribe to our channel if you want to follow along the journey. You can also share our videos with friends and family or anyone who you think might enjoy you know, the kind of content that we make here. And you can also follow us on our new Instagram for more regular updates. And now back to the video. Okay, here we are for attempt number 2. The chain's all replaced and the chainsaw's running smoothly. It's got a bit of a problem with the brake apparently. Those 2 ducks just flew away. But otherwise I just gave it a test run and it's working okay. Today's objective is still the same. I'm still here to just clear a path to access the lake a bit easier. But today I've come at it from a different angle. I've come down to pond number 2 down here in the south western corner of the woodland, next to this beautiful massive copper beech tree here. It's one of the biggest trees in the woods. The reason I've come over to this end today is because we've got this cherry laurel here, and if you follow me through here, you can see walking along the bank of the mini pond here. But as we come out, it gets a little bit clearer down here. Got some wild garlic, bluebells, and whatever those beautiful things are, and then a big patch of Himalayan balsam, which I hope doesn't spread too much further because that is already quite substantial. But if we come this way, you can see that it actually comes out into a relatively clear area. So you can see this is all still dominated by cherry laurel. There's a massive fallen tree here, look at that. And we've got this beautiful ancient yew tree here tucked away in the cherry laurel, which is another reason to expose this area. But this is so much easier to get to the lake than that last part. Look at that, it's almost just a clear walkway already. So I'm thinking maybe we just, you know, clear this area and then just have to take a bit of a longer trek to get round to it. You can just about see through there, the lake is right there. So I think what I'm going to do is just maybe clear some of this area a bit more. It's still very dense, but it's not as entangled, you know. There's quite a lot of room between the different trees. I've also got a shirt with me today because last time, although I had the chainsaw trousers on, my arms were exposed, and I was thinking about it afterwards. I'm very lucky that chain didn't catch me, as I say as I roll up my sleeves. Alright, so there we are. We've now cleared a pretty wide path through the cherry laurel here to get to the lake. And now there's one more thing that I want to do before we end this video. Okay, so now I'm over on the other side of the lake and I just had to climb over a fallen tree to get down here. There's a beech tree that's come down over the winter but it's good to see that all the leaves are growing back this spring, so the tree's still alive. I think it's just uprooted. So we've cleared the path over on the other side of the lake, but now I'm on this side because there's something else that I really want to do. So the last time I was down here working on the lake, I mentioned that it would be great to get an ecological assessment of the lake to see what kind of species composition this lake is able to support. Something else I wanted to do was stick a camera down into the water and see if there was anything of note down there. So initially I gave this one a go last time I was here. This is just a cheap sort of action camera. It's got this waterproof casing on there, but the thing is it doesn't do great in low light, so I didn't really see anything. But then I found out that my sister has a GoPro Black 11 or 11 Black, which is not only waterproof without the need of a case, but does great in low light and is just a better camera overall. So I've fastened this very makeshift mount here using a screw and a lot of rope to keep the bamboo from splitting. And we've got a very expensive camera on the end here, and I'm hoping it doesn't fall off. So I'm going to turn it on and let's turn it around. I've got this very, very, very long bamboo pole here. Whoa! Okay. Can we get this a bit further back here? There we go. Okay. Right. Low light, 1 times speed. Okay. Here we are, moment of truth. We're going to stick this GoPro in the lake and we're going to see what we can see. Please do not fall off the stick. Please do not fall off the stick. I'm going to get it a little bit closer. Okay, we're in. Test dip. Back out. It's quite difficult to control to stick this long. It's like 20 feet of bamboo here. Okay, that was a little test dip. Okay, it looks about as clear as we can expect from a lake like this. So I'm going to move a bit further along to where that tree is. I'm going to try to get in there instead. I think I can get a little bit closer to the water edge down here. Okay, going again, here goes nothing. Okay. And one more little dip. Okay, right. We weren't quite deep in the lake that time, so let's press stop on here and let's see what we can see. Okay, so after looking through the footage, that looks pretty good. The water is quite murky, so I'm not expecting too much, but it would be cool just to see, just get a view for under the lake. So as for our plans for restoring this lake, again, it's just about creating an environment that can sustain a number of different habitats for various different species here. And as I've said before, this will all depend on, what kind of species composition is already in the lake, you know, the alkalinity or acidity of the lake, any possible hazardous chemicals or substances that have leaked into the lake over the years. Anything like that has to be taken into consideration when we're talking about restoring this lake. And also, what would a lake look like in a woodland ecosystem like this? The priority for this lake this season, this summer and this year, is just to clear all of this dense overgrowth around it. You can see there are some native trees around there. We've got some oak over there. We've got a fallen pine tree in the lake. But otherwise it is mostly rhododendron, cherry laurel and bamboo. Hopefully we'll be able to open up the banks of this lake so that the whole woodland just sort of seamlessly flows down into here. And again, we're just reconnecting these different fragmented pockets of this ecosystem. But you can really see the potential of this lake from this angle here. It's difficult to see from on the other end of the bank, but from here, isn't it just beautiful? It's like a mini oasis inside this woodland. And so this is just the beginning assessment for this lake. But going forward into the summer, we are going to be working more on opening this area up and potentially planting trees in the micro wetland area behind here. So thank you for watching this episode of The Wellstead. If you like our content and you want to support the work that we're doing here, then the best way you can do that is to subscribe to the channel, like this video and share our work with others. But if you also want the opportunity to contribute directly to a small independent rewilding project like ours, then we also have that GoFundMe that I mentioned down in the description below. But otherwise, everyone, I want to say thank you for watching this video, and we will see you in the next episode at The Wellstead.